Now, when we look at standard forms, we have parabola like this. We have the ellipse like this. And we have the hyperbola like this, where the origin plays a distinct, or rather has a distinct place. Let's say the graphs are like this, or like this in case of parabola. In case of ellipse, it is like this, and in case of hyperbola, it is like this. And this is called type 1. Then you have similar to standard ones, but not the origin doesn't come into picture. Say for example, it could be like this, a parabola, and hyperbola, this is type 2. So the difference between the standard and type 2 is that the graph is shifted away from the origin. The difference between standard form and type 1 is that it is, now the way I have shown it is rotated 90 degree, and type 3 is just like type 1. The only thing is, again, it is shifted away from the origin in case of ellipse and in case of parabola. Now let me clarify here in this particular case. This is just to show that it could be in either direction. So this is actually parabola, and this is type 3. Now let's look at what happens to the equation and the formula. So let's look at type 1 now, parabola. So let's look at the standard. Let's just mention the standard one, and then we look at type 1. So standard is y square is equal to 4ax. Now type 1, just interchange the values of interchange x and y. So it becomes x square is equal to 4ay. Now ellipse, this is x square by a square plus y square by b square is equal to 1, where a is greater than b. Now here you have two things, x and y and a and b. So interchange the value, interchange x and y. So y square by, and interchange a and b. So b square plus x square by a square is equal to 1. B is greater than A. So if you notice, the equation itself doesn't change. It reverts back to the same thing. The only thing is the condition changes. B is greater than A. Now in case of hyperbola, the standard equation is x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1. There is no condition. Now here again we interchange the x and y's. So y square by a and b we interchange, b square minus x square by a square is equal to 1. Now for all these parabola, ellipse and hyperbola, there are a lot of formulae. So the formulae changes such that the x and y gets interchanged and a and b gets interchanged. So if you remember this, you don't have to remember the formula. You just have to remember the standard form. Now, in case of hyperbola, there is a very additional thing that comes into picture. When the transverse axis and the conjugate axis of one hyperbola or the conjugate and transverse axis of the other, they are called conjugate hyperbolas. They have the same asymptotes. So the easiest way of drawing this is draw the rectangle, then draw the asymptotes via the diagonal, or draw the diagonal and extend it. And now you draw this is one hyperbola, the standard form. Then you have its conjugate. So this is one additional thing when we look at type 1 form of hyperbolas. Now let's look at type 2. Again, parabola. This is standard, which is y square is equal to 4ax. And we have type 2. Now here the origin or the vertex of, in case of parabola, the vertex is shifted. So the equation becomes y minus k square is equal to 4a x minus h. X minus h. So it has shifted by h in x direction, and it is shifted by k in y direction. Ellipse, its equation is x square by a square plus y square by b square is equal to 1, a greater than b. In terms of type 2, the equation becomes x square by a square plus y square by b square is equal to 1, a is greater than b. Hyperbola is x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1. No condition. It becomes x square by a square minus y square by b square is equal to 1. So here x becomes x minus h. So here what I have put as a capital X and capital Y, it is actually x minus h. Y is y minus k. So basically what are we doing? We are shifting the origin itself. So if the parabola is here, we are shifting the origin itself. In this case, we are just shifting the origin, which means we are shifting it in the x direction. So this is h, whereas it didn't go up or down, so it has not shifted in the y direction. So here h is equal to, let's say this is 2, 0. So it has shifted by 2, and k is equal to 0. Or it might happen that it shifts in both directions. So here y-axis is this, and so I've shifted this origin to here. So here h is the shift in x and k is the shift in y-axis. So a point on the conic in standard form, if it is this, then in case of type 1, it will be x, y. For example, if you have an equation y plus 2 square is equal to 8x minus 3. Let's say they have made it a little bit more and put it as this. Now you convert it into standard form, or at least put it in that form where y is on this side and x is on that side. So y plus 2 square is equal to minus 8x minus 3. Now put it in 4ax form. So y plus 2 square is equal to 4. Now to get minus 8, we have to multiply it by minus 2. and x minus 3. So this is in which form? Now this is in the form of y minus k square is equal to 4a x minus h. So look at these two. Minus k is equal to 2. So k is equal to minus 2. Right? Direct comparison. Here a is equal to minus 2 and minus h is equal to minus 3. So h is equal to 3. So you have h, you have a, you have k. Now let's take another example. Let's say 7x plus 2 square plus 8y minus 2 square is equal to 112. Now let's divide this by 112 so that we get 1. So we divide this also by 112, this also divide by 112. So this becomes 1. Now 7 1s 7, 4 7 6 are 42. 8 1s 32, 8 4s are 32. Okay. So now it is in which form? X minus h by a square, because this can be written as 4 square plus y minus k square by b square, because 14 can be written as square root of 14 square is equal to 1. So by direct comparison we know that minus h is equal to 2. That means h is equal to minus 2. Minus k is equal to minus 2. So k is equal to 2. A is equal to 4. B is equal to square root of 14. Now whether it is parabola, ellipse or hyperbola, what do you have to do? For all formulae, add h to x and k to y value to x value. So your x becomes x plus h and y. Now in case of type 3, so let's say parabola, ellipse and hyperbola. Let's say this is standard form and this is type 3 form. Standard form is y square is equal to 4ax. Here it is not only interchange the x and y's, but they are away from the origin. So x minus h square, see, instead of y minus k, we are saying x minus h square is equal to 4a and y minus k. Okay, now in case of ellipse, standard form is x square by a square plus y square by b square is equal to 1 and a is greater than b. In type 3, so here interchange the y and then remember to shift the origin. So y minus k square by b square plus x minus h square by a square is equal to 1 and interchange a and b. So b is greater than a. Now in case of hyperbola, x square by a square minus y square by b square is equal to 1. Here again interchange x and y's, so this becomes y, but then you shift the origin, y minus k square by b square minus x minus h square by a square is equal to 1. So again x is equal to, the new coordinate will be x plus h, y would be yk, or in other words we can say the old coordinate if we want back, x minus h. and y is equal to y minus k. So we are shifting the origin by translation of coordinate axis. So say for example, x plus 1 square plus 12y is equal to 0. So let's move it around. X plus 1 square is equal to minus 12y. Minus 12y can be written as 4 minus 3y plus 0, right? So this is of what form? X minus h square is equal to 4a y minus k. So here h minus h is equal to 1 or h is equal to minus 1. A is equal to minus 3. Minus k is equal to 0 or k is equal to 0. So now that you have a, h and k, the formula or formulae of the conics would change such that the x and y's and a and b's get interchanged. Then we add h and k to x value and y value respectively. So let's summarize. We have parabola, ellipse, we have hyperbola, we have standard, we have type 1, type 2, type 3. Standard is y square is equal to 4ax, ellipse is x square by a square plus y square by b square is equal to 1, where a is greater than b. X square by a square minus y square by b square is equal to 1. There is no condition. So to get the type 1, what do? We interchange x and y. So in case of parabola, we say x square is equal to 4ay. There is no b, so no question of interchanging a and b. Now in case of ellipse, x becomes y, so y square, a becomes b plus y becomes x and b becomes a. So formula remains the same, the equation remains the same. The only thing is here when we interchange it, the condition changes. Same is the case here. Okay, so x becomes y, a becomes b. Now here the sign changes, right? Unlike in case of ellipse, in the ellipse the equation doesn't change, but here the sign will change. So y becomes x square, b becomes a square equal to 1. Now let's look at type 2. So let me draw the lines. Now here the origin gets shifted. So x, no, we have to look at it from standard. So y minus k square is equal to 4a x minus h. Here x minus h square by a square plus y minus k square by b square is equal to 1. And a is greater than b. Here x minus h square by a square minus y minus k square by b square is equal to 1. In type 3, x minus h square is equal to 4a y minus k. Y minus k square by b square plus x minus h square by a square is equal to 1. And b is greater than a. Here y minus k square by b square minus x minus h square by a square is equal to 1. So, if you want to go from here to here, what do? Interchange x and y, a and b. Right? If you want to go from here to here, what do? Shift the origin. So x becomes x minus h, y becomes y minus k. If you want to go from here to here, then you interchange x and y, a and b, and then shift the origin so that x becomes x minus h and y becomes y minus k. And here formulate x plus h, y plus k. In this case, again all the formulae will change: x plus h, y plus k. And here again formulae will change: x plus h, y plus k. So that is different types of conic sections. Enough for today. Bye for now.